to help you guys become such a good defense, and with Aaron Henry, who's relatively young, what does he have to do to keep that going?
Start with Coach Walt. I feel like he solidified himself as one of the best, if not the best, defensive coaches out there. How he transformed our defense from going to unknown to one of the best defenses in college football speaks for itself. I feel like his scheme that he brought to us helped us get to that next level. I feel like that's how we got those players in the league because of his scheme. And I feel like Coach Henry's a young coach. He has a lot to prove this year. His first time being in DC, and I know that we got his back as players, but I know he has his best interest in us as players to help us out to be the best that we can be. So I know that Coach Henry, he'll cook some stuff up this year.
Johnny, very successful year last year individually, and you elected to come back stating unfinished business. So how do you top that? What's the next step for you this year?
Just getting more sacks, honestly, but just helping my team win, honestly, being the best defensive player that I could be. I know a lot of teams that game plan towards me or around me, focusing on me, so that'll open up a lot of the other defensive linemen to get one-on-ones, and hopefully they can execute so they could get the shine.
Obviously, you and Keith are here. That defensive front, there's a lot of excitement about whether it be Gabe or Seth. What can you guys do collectively up front when you include those outside linebackers in that mix?
Including the outside linebackers, that's 4 dogs on the ball. Gabe and Seth, 2 unique players, good defensive ends, outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them. And in the inside, me and Keith, I just feel like us 4 pass rushing, I feel like no team can stop us. I know that for a fact.
You and Keith played a lot of snaps last year. What's the depth look like this year? Do you think it's better? Is you gonna have some guys come in and give you a blow every now and then?
For sure. I know me and Keith probably take a lot more snaps than we took last year because that just comes with the game. But we got great depth this year. A lot of the incoming freshmen are hot and ready to play. Then right behind me and Keith, we got Bryce Barnes and Darius McConnell, who have proven themselves to the coaches and solidified their spots behind us.
When did you know last year that things were turning around in a better direction than Illinois had been in recent years?
I knew after the Indiana game, honestly, how we reacted in the locker room. Everybody was upset about that game. We felt like we should have had that one in our hands. But how we reacted the next day, like more hungry than ever to win the next game, that's when I knew, this is serious. We all on the same page about winning. We all care about winning, and we all want the best outcome.
Was there a game that you won last year that helped solidify that feeling?
I feel like the Wisconsin game, from a defensive standpoint, well, offensive too, but I can't speak for them. But from a defensive standpoint, I feel like that's when we knew what we were.
Johnny, Mark Followell from BTN. I'll have the play-by-play for your first game this year. Looking super forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Just curious about how you manage this. How do you put last year in its proper perspective and enjoy it and look back at it, and it's a great memory and a tremendous accomplishment, and then put it all in the right place where you move forward and build off of it to do even better things this year? How do you balance those two things?
We did great last year, but we don't have Coach Walters anymore. Coach Kane, Devin Witherspoon, Sidney Brown, Quan Martin, Kendall. They have graduated to a different place in life. So I just can't feed off what we did last year because last year can't help us with anything this year. We got new DBs, a new defensive coordinator, a new outside backers coach, and we're just focused on executing that standard, executing what we did last year, being number one in every aspect of what we did.
Speaking of being number one, you were number one in scoring defense, and we live in an interesting world from a statistical standpoint. There's weird analytics and people have numbers for everything, but at the end of the day, the bottom line is as a defense, don't let them other dudes score.
For sure.
And you guys did that last year. As you reflect on that, what kind of pride do you take in an accomplishment of that degree to be the number one team in the nation at ultimately what the defense's job is to do, and that's keep the other team off the scoreboard?
Coach Walters always said us before the game, defense wins games. he always said the offense needs to score for the defense to win these games, but he said if the other team never scores, then it's just gonna be a tie. So we took pride in that. You know, it was for a hot minute. No team scored at us when we played at home. I remember that. You know, we took pride in that. Every home game we played, we didn't want no team to score at Memorial. And even in away games, we just felt like as a defense, like if they get in the end zone multiple times and they're better than us, and we knew like deep down that we had the dogs on our side. We had great players, a great coaching staff, and we knew Coach Walters was going to call great plays to help us.
How do you, I know that some of the other guys here have asked you this, but how do you move forward yourself this year? You had a great season last year, but obviously there's a lot of expectations on yourself this year. I mean, what are you excited about and looking forward to this year and the next phase of your growth as a player?
I just accept all the accolades that I'm getting, you know, cherish them, embrace them, because I've worked really hard these past 3 to 4 years, you know, to get where I'm at now. But like I said, the season hasn't started yet. Everybody has the same stats, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 across the board, you know, honestly. So I can't feed off what I did last year, because last year's in the past. I got another season to prove myself, you know. So I just got to show what I could do this season.
Johnny, you went through a physical transformation since you got to Illinois. This offseason, was it about maintaining, or were there some more things you wanted to get better at physically over the offseason?
Definitely, you could to get better. I feel like if you're not getting better, then you just stand in the same place, and people will catch up to you and pass you easily. I knew once the reins came out, me as being the number 1 defensive tackle, I had to put in double the work, because I knew everybody else behind me is going to try to be number 1, and I feel like I want to start number 1 and end number 1, and exceed the level that I was last year. You know, I feel like I left a lot of meat on the bone last year with a lot of plays that I missed a couple sacks. That could have been good money right there. So, yeah.
After such a successful season last year, you guys have a lot of expectations going into this year. Does this offseason feel different from last year, and where's the mindset of the team kind of like? Is it about the same?
Each offseason feels different since Coach B has been here. Like, we wanted more and more and more and more and more. Like, the incoming freshmen coming in, dogs, like, automatically thinking they're going to play. Like, I love that mindset. Like, nobody's better than them, and their work ethic shows it, you know. Each year we've come in more confident as well as a team, you know, with Coach B, his philosophy, tough, smart, dependable. Like, we carry that in every day, take it to heart, apply it to our work ethic, and everybody just wants to win, and you can see it around the building.
Johnny, you mentioned that Wisconsin win last year being kind of a pivotal moment for you guys. Wisconsin's taking a pretty hard left turn with their offense this year, going to an air raid, and pretty big change for them. How much does that change preparing for a team like that when their identity was on the ground, now they're going to be trying to go through the air?
I feel like preparation would be the same, honestly. I mean, whether they're run or pass, I feel like it'll be the same. Our first 2 games are playing against teams that are like an air raid style offense. So, you know, we prepare for each team the same, honestly, just different plays, of course. We don't take any team lightly. You know, I think that's why our defense was so successful last year.
Obviously, it wasn't your position, Coach, but how does that help just with continuity and staying on staff, having a new defensive coordinator who was on the staff last year?
I love that Coach B did that, honestly. I was so happy for Coach Henry when he got promoted, when Coach Jamison got promoted. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, like what defense coordinator he was going to bring in, but when I found out that Coach Henry was like our defense coordinator, I was filled with joy, because I know what he could bring to the table, what he's finna bring to the table, and what he showed us during spring.
What can he bring to the table?
A scheme that'll help us out a lot, for sure. That's all I can say. I can't say what the scheme is, but it'll be elite. You know that.
Johnny, you had lots of losses, big, heavy losses in the back end of the defense. Does that put a little more pressure on the front, on you guys up front?
I don't think it gives us pressure up front. You know, seniors graduate every year, like Tony Adams, Nate Hobbs, great cornerbacks that have been here that have graduated and gone to the next level. I just think the next big thing for us is just teaching the freshmen what we believe in, getting them to the level that we're on, you know, because the freshmen are the future of the program, and they might be the now of the program. You never know what happens. We had a lot of injuries last year at the defensive back position, and a lot of people got a lot of reps. So I feel like seeing Witherspoon, Quan, and Sidney get drafted, they're just hungry to be the next big DB out of Illinois.